Shalom brothers and sisters who have arrived here on this channel. I have some incredible new information here that will lift your spirit high, because in the end you will see that we are still in the season for the rapture, in the season for the harvest of the church, the harvesting of the wheat, which is the church. So I have a lot to talk about in this video for you guys, but first and foremost I have to explain for all of you why I've been away for a couple weeks. So I've been away for a couple weeks here due to being censored. So YouTube literally gave me another strike, community guideline strikes on my Portuguese video. That is basically, they say here it's because of medical misinformation, but that's a lie. This is basically political and religious persecution here in Brazil. I believe somebody that works in the Google department here in Brazil is a leftist, and he is literally banning and censoring my content, and I believe others as well. So here in Brazil we are suffering a heavy censorship due to being political right, due to defend the morals and the Bible, and they are literally persecuting and censoring our videos. That's why I told everybody in Portuguese channel to subscribe to my new channel on Rumble. So it's rumble.com/Ricardo Garcia. If you can also help me out subscribing to this channel. I need at least 100 subscribers in order to do live streams here as well. So if you have a Rumble account, or if you can, please help me out in this channel here, because I need 100 subscribers at least in order to do videos here in a platform that has no censorship yet. So basically what's happening here in Brazil, and what happened here on the 2nd of October, is the elections. The elections in 2022. And here in Brazil, what's happening is very similar to what happened to Trump. So we believe we are being trumpeted here in Brazil, because the leftist candidate, he is receiving way too many votes than he have followers. So basically this is for the president of the Brazil. And we have two candidates here, the current president Jair Bolsonaro and Lula. They are the two candidates for the president of Brazil. Bolsonaro is the guy that is just like Trump. Actually, Donald Trump endorsed him for president, and he have a lot of people that is cheering for him. He moves masses everywhere he goes, and he protects the values of the Bible. So most people are voting for him. However, our voting system is electronic, so this is very dangerous, because we have there's a lot of things that we can say. I don't want to say it directly, because I don't want this video to be censored as well, but we can you can imagine if people can hack this electronic system and do what is happening right here. Because this guy here from the left, he barely just got out of jail for corruption. He actually got out of jail not because he's innocent. He got out of jail because he has friends in the Supreme Court. So this guy here is literally out of jail in has been out of jail in less than a year, and he's amassing more votes, even though he doesn't have a lot of people cheering or following him. If you have to see this picture here, on the left you see the left candidate, and this is their political party here, people cheering for him, it's very small. And on the right you see the amount of people that goes for the right candidate here. So in Brazil we are under this burden here, because we are seeing the guy that just came out of jail receive 57 million votes out of nowhere for no reason, and he's about to enter into the presidency on the second shift that will be on October 30. This is very dangerous, and this is something that is gonna be awful for Brazil. He will start the persecution. He will become the guy that will invite China and other leftist countries to come here and basically transform Brazil into an Argentina or Venezuela, and this is gonna be awful. And we might get a civil war here because of this. So I'm speaking this for all of you friends and family here, Christian family from all over the world, because it is important that this gets noted so you guys can realize and not believe what the media will say about this, because this is happening and this is not a trustworthy thing that is happening here in Brazil, because the place where you vote is electronic and it's easily hackable. So this is happening and this is very dangerous. And if you are voting for this guy, if you are trying to say good things about the right-wing guy here, who is the current president, you will be censored, just like they are doing all over the world. So the left is coming, because the Antichrist will have a left party. He will, with China and Russia, govern for 7 years this world. So I hope that we leave here very soon. Otherwise, we might be in a very hard situation here in Brazil. So I just wanted to point this out so you guys understand what's happening here and how difficult it's been for us here, Brazilians, who are trying to get the right candidate to remain a president here in Brazil, because he is for the Bible, he is in the Bible side, he is defending Bible values. So that's what's happening here. Now, I have a lot to talk about in regards to the rapture, and I have also to thank a lot of you guys that came here on the commentary section of the videos and give me information that I use this information to study and to look for, and I realized that something is very, very true. There are only 2 seasons in Israel. There are only 2 seasons. There are not 4 seasons like we are used to believe. So in Israel, we have a rainy winter and a dry summer. And even the Bible doesn't even mention spring or autumn or fall. There are only 2 seasons in Israel. And that's very important for us to understand what I'm gonna tell you guys here. Also, the Moedins, which are the biblical feasts, they are marked in the sky by the blood moons and the very soon to happen solar eclipse that will happen here in October. But before I tell you that, let's go here to the scriptures, and I'm gonna put here for you guys the Genesis 8 verse 22. As long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will never cease. So the Bible mentions only summer and winter. What else here? Proverbs 30. Just put it the English version here. Proverbs 30. Ants are creatures of little strength, yet they store up their food in the summer. So you harvest and store in the summer. Psalms 74. Let me just put it the English version here. The day is yours, and yours is the night. You established the sun and the moon. You made both summer and winter. You made both summer and winter. So God and the Bible always points to a summer and to a winter. What else here? So if you research spring in the Bible, if you research spring, you will find springing water, spring up, springs up Sisha, spring out the valley, springs. You won't find the season of spring or the season of fall. And some, perhaps if you have a new Bible or a new international version or the newest Bibles, some will say spring or fall. However, the translation is wrong. I got a few examples here. And here on Job 29:23, I believe that if you look at the New International Version, you will see here, they waited for me as showers and drank in my words as the spring rain. But this is incorrect. If you see here on King James, and they waited for me as for the rain, and they opened their mouth wide as for the latter rain. So it's not a spring rain, but a latter rain. What is a latter rain? It's a rain that happens in the end of the year, in the end of the harvest season. That's why they call latter rain. It is for us in the period of time that we are used to call spring. But it is not correct because there are no spring in Israel. What else here? We have Proverbs. The same thing here. When a king's face brightens, it means life. His favor is like a rain cloud in spring. It is not spring. In the light of the king's countenance is life, and his favor is as a cloud of the latter rain. So they translate latter rain as spring, and that's not perfectly correct. And also another here. You will see here Deuteronomy 11:14. Then I will send rain on your land in its season, both autumn and spring rains, so that you may gather in your grain, new wine, and olive oil. However, if you see here in the King James Version, that I will give you the rain of your land in his due season, the first rain and the latter rain. So autumn and springs, it is not correct. It is first rain and latter rain. That thou mayest gather in thy corn and thy wine and thy oil. So you can see here that the translation, the newest translations, they put springs and autumn for us to understand the season more or less. However, it is not autumn or springs. The correct translation is first rain and latter rain, and that has a lot of significance for us. So I went to research, and also had to thank a lot of channels that did this research, gave me the information. I continued the research. I have to thank all of the commenters in the previous video that sent me this, because it is very important for us to understand. So I researched this, and here I have an encyclopedia that basically tells about Israel. So land, we have here the land, drainage and soils, climate of Israel. So if you go here to this encyclopedia, you will see here the climate of Israel. Israel has a wide variety of climatic conditions, caused mainly by the country's diverse topography. There are two distinct seasons: a cool, rainy winter, October to April, and a dry, hot summer, May to September. So here it says that there are two distinct seasons, one that has a lot of rain and another one that has no rain, basically a dry, hot summer. Some more information here. This is for later. Seasons in Israel. This website is very good. I found here that give us all of these seasons here that we understand as seasons, but tells us the spring in Israel, the climate, so March, April, and May. Rainy days 1, rainy days 2, rainy days on May 0. That's the spring. There are spring holidays. Summer in Israel, we have rainy days 0, rainy days 0, and rainy days 0 in June, July, and August. And then autumn in Israel we have here September, October, November. So rainy days 0 still, October 1 day, November 2 days. So there are 2 rainy days in November, only 1 in October. And now in winter they have 2 days, 3 days, and 3 days. But way more precipitation here, which is the water amount that is falling from the sky. So on this graph here you see basically what happens in Israel, because God is using the climate in Israel to prophesy, to say things about the feasts and his moedims. So here you see that January, February, March there are some rain here. In April it begins to drop quickly here. By the middle of April there are basically less than 1.6 here inches of rain, which is very low. And then it stays like this in May, June, July, August, September, and then in the middle to the end of October here you begin having one more day of raining. And then after October, starting November, you see that there are an increase of raining seasons here, and then goes all the way into January. So you can see here that basically starting in the middle here of April all the way until the end of October, it is a clear summer dry season, while from October or November all the way until the middle of April or beginning of May, it is a rainy winter season. So basically looking at this graph from the climate in Israel, you can clearly see that there are 2 different seasons. One a summer dry heat, and one that is rainy and cold winter. Having said this, my friends, my brothers and sisters, I gotta go back here and show you guys this graph that I made a few videos ago, in which I showed you guys basically all of the feasts that happens throughout the year, the months, and for the feasts here I showed you guys Moses' story and also Noah's story here, and then I showed you guys the seasons that we believed that happened in Israel here, spring, summer, fall, and winter, but now we know it's not perfectly correct. And also I showed you guys here the harvesting of grain here, barley, wheat, and then fruits here in the summer, and then the sowing and almonds. So basically this graph we were using because it showed us all the things that we have to look for in the Bible, all the things that we have to look for expecting the rapture. And this part here in red was the thing that I was saying to you guys, that it is the most likely moment for the rapture to happen, because it was in the late spring and early summer, moment for the wheat harvest. So right now we are right here. So we are this little sheep here. We are about to enter the middle of the 6th month, the month of Elul. So I already told you guys on the previous video why we are 1 month behind the Jewish feasts, the Jewish calendar, and most watchmen are believing that the Jewish are correct, but I have shown you guys in the previous video that they are indeed 1 month off, because they don't match what we see in the sky. So we are about to enter here the full moon. Tomorrow is the full moon on Elul, on the 6th constellation, which is Virgin, and the moon will be on Pisces, the 12th constellation. So we are about to enter to witness the full moon here on the 6th month. It is not trumpets yet, it is not atonement yet, it is not tabernacles yet. We are 1 month off, clearly by looking at the sky. But I have to change all of this here down here, because it is not correct based on what we saw. So I have to change and erase all of this part here in the bottom. And now we'll correct here for what we have understood, that how things work, how the climate works in Israel. So basically starting on May, on May we have this long period of dry and a hot summer that goes all the way until the beginning of November. And then in November we have this rainy and cold winter that goes all the way until May. Basically, this is the climate in Israel, and there are the two distinct seasons that actually happens in Israel. And this is what God uses because He Himself said in His Word that there are two seasons, summer and winter. He doesn't mention spring or autumn. This is new things that we, as Greek society, understand. Now there are two distinct seasons, summer and winter. And now on the summer, it is when we harvest the grains. So the grains are barley, wheat, and corn. The three main grains here that is harvested on the summer: barley, wheat, and corn. And also we also harvest fruits on this moment of time, which are here grapes, figs, red fruits like pomegranates, and oil. Oil here, which is very important. It is the moment of which we are right now about to enter, already entered actually, on the 6th month, the month of Elul. We have also almonds, that is right before here the summer. It is right before the summer here, on the latter rainy seasons. And the sowing process starts here in the end of the summer and goes throughout the winter. So basically, looking at this graph, this new graph here that I made for you guys can clearly see that we have way more time to look for the rapture than we previously imagined. So we have way more time. Way more time, because now the summer basically abranges, gets and covers all of the feasts in Israel. So from the first month it gets Passover, unleavened breads, and first fruits. On the third month gets Shavuot. It gets the Feast of New Wine and the Feast of New Oil, and also trumpets here in the beginning of the 7th month. So basically all of the seasons, all of the Moedins, all of the biblical feasts happens in the summer. Apart from, or you can also say that Tabernacles, that happens in the middle of the 7th month, it is the feast of ingathering, because you thank God for all of the gathering that you already did throughout the year. So basically all of the feasts still applies to a summer season. So if God has to harvest the church on the summer, basically all the way until the end of the last feast, the summer applies. So now for us, the watch period of time, it is much bigger than we previously thought. So it is this big. Beginning here on the 1st month, on Nisan, which is Passover and unleavened breads and first fruits, and goes all the way into the 7th month, the month of Tishrei, the month of tabernacles, trumpets, and atonements. So we have a long period of time to watch, to expect the rapture, because all of them falls on a dry, hot summer in Israel, beginning in May and going all the way until November. So we have 6 months of summer and 6 months of winter. And basically everything fits and everything falls here in this summer season. So for us that are here on the 6th month, about to get tomorrow into the full moon, or the middle of the month, we are still in this summer season. We are still in the period of time where we can expect a harvesting of the church, a harvesting also of either barley or wheat or corn, or most likely oil as well, because we are approaching tomorrow the Feast of New Oil, which is the feast for the gathering of the oil, the olives. And that has a lot to do with the church, because we have the oil, which is the Holy Spirit. The wise virgins had the oil, entered the marriage supper of the Lamb. So we have this amazing feast happening starting tomorrow. That is the Feast of New Oil, in which we can expect the rapture to happen for the harvesting of the oil, which is the church who has the oil, the Holy Spirit. So in here that we are, you can see that there are only a few days left for the summer, and only a few days here for the last feasts here to happen, which is trumpets, atonements, and tabernacles. So we can expect the harvest, if it has to happen in 2022, anytime between now and the beginning or the middle point of November. And I will show you guys precisely when to look for, but to continue here this graph, I also added here the constellations, the matches, the months, the Hebrew months. So the first Hebrew month goes into the Aries constellation, the constellation of the Lamb. The second, it is the constellation of Taurus. The third, Gemini, and so on. So if you look at the sun right now, you will see the sun pointing the sixth constellation, the constellation of the Virgin. And the full moon is always diametrically opposed to the sun. So you will see the full moon happening when the sun is on the Virgin right now, and the moon will be on Pisces. We will be on the 7th month when the sun and the moon will be pointing the 7th constellation, Libra, the scales, and the full moon in Libra will be in Aries, because it is opposed to where the sun is, just like I told you guys in my previous video. So now this graph is completely full. There isn't anything else to add on, so if you want to take a screenshot or something, because it is basically the graph that shows you guys how the Bible and the climate in Israel and all the feasts, the Moedings, in the sky works. I also just added here the previous seasons that we thought were correct here in the middle, just for just so we had a basis here to look. But basically these are not correct anymore. This is what we think of the 4 seasons that happens. However, you can see here that in Israel it is different. So this is a complete graph. If you want to take a screenshot here, you can, because this is something that you're gonna be using for a long time if the rapture doesn't happen, because this is the moment of time where we can expect the rapture, all the way from the 1st month all the way to the 7th month. These are the moments for harvesting grains or fruits, and these are the moments where it fits with the story of Moses and the story of Noah. So it is all complete for you to see here this graph. So where we are right now, about to enter to witness the full moon, the feast of new oil. It is a very important moment to watch for, because there are only a few days left for the summer. We're about to witness the oil, the trumpets, the forgiveness, the atonement, and in the end the ingathering, which is tabernacles, where you gather all of the things that you have harvested throughout the year for God, for the Father. So basically the last few days here, from one full moon to another full moon, basically it is the most likely moment for the rapture to happen in this year of 2022. After the tabernacles has passed, then we will have some interesting dates, which are the deluge date, the date of the flood, Hanukkah, the Feast of Trees, Purim. However, they are falling not precisely on the summer season, on the harvesting season, only on winter, and that's unlikely to God to harvest wheat at that moment. So for us here, we are on the last few days for the harvesting of wheat, for the harvesting of also barley, or here oil, which are the church. So 3 main harvests happening here, which are us, and we can expect the rapture to happen if it has to happen in this year. Also, if you realize that if we are still on the 6th month, on the month of Elul, that means for us that the Shemitah cycle hasn't ended yet, hasn't happened yet. So we haven't reached the 7th month, so we haven't reached the end of the Shemitah cycle. In the next year for Israel hasn't happened yet, so it is very important because we are in the last days for the Shemitah to happen. So if it has to happen in this Shemitah cycle, we must be leaving here before the Feast of Trumpets, which will be October 26. So just to put into perspective here in this Earth clock that I have shown you guys for a long time, I shown you guys how it works on the previous video here. I'm just gonna go through the clock real quick, just so you guys remember what I've shown you guys. So this is the correct moment for Passover, the middle of the 1st month, and the full moon here on Libra. And now the Jews call this, or they are gonna call this tabernacles tomorrow. So you can clearly see in Stellarium, if you have the app, that the sun will be pointing the Virgin and the full moon will be in Pisces. They are calling this tabernacles, the middle of the 6th month. But for us, it will be when the sun is pointing Libra, the scales, and the moon will be pointing Aries. That's gonna be the true 7th month and the true tabernacles, the middle of the 7th month. So for the harvesting season, all of this period of time here is the harvesting season that covers spring and summer for us, all of this here. And the time for sowing is from the 7th month all the way into the 11th, 12th month here. So that's what we can expect here, the harvest to happen anytime between this period of time, and we are right now here. So we were right at the end of the harvesting season. So if we have to go, if we have to be harvested anytime, now is the perfect time for it to happen. Now let me just show you guys here something real quick. So let me put it here. Bible, Prophecy, and Eschatology. Thank you, brother, for the donation. I haven't ever received a donation here in this chat. I don't know how it works, but I want to read your message here. Thank you for showing that the NIV is not a good translation to use. The NIV also changed the day of Christ of the day of the Lord. True. The newer is the Bible, and the less faithful it is. So it is good for us to always go back to the older Bibles, so KJV or older, it is better. So thank you, brother, for this donation. Also, I have to thank some brother here that sent me a donation on PayPal. I don't know who you are or who you were that sent me on my PayPal account. Thank you very much. I appreciate a lot because it helped me do this more often for you guys. So let me show you guys here the calendar for the Jews. So here we have the Jewish calendar. Right now, they believe they are in Tishrei, so on the 7th month. They believe they are on the 13th day here of the 7th month, and tomorrow will be the 14th day of the 7th month, which for them will be on the sunset Sukkot, which is tabernacles. That's what they believe, and they already gone through Yom Kippur, which is the Day of Atonement, and the Feast of Trumpets, Rosh Hashanah. So all of their major feasts, basically they lost it. They gone through without actually confirming it, because they are 1 month off. And a lot of brothers and sisters believe them, so they are also believing that we've gone through the Rosh Hashanah, the Feast of Trumpets, Yom Kippur, the Atonement, and they are believing we're about to enter tabernacles here. However, in the true calendar, we're gonna reach here. Let me just go to October. On the true calendar here, we're gonna reach. We are right now at the 13th day of Elul, and tomorrow will be the 14th day of Elul, which is the 6th month. So we haven't reached Rosh Hashanah yet, the Feast of Trumpets, which will be a very high watch for us, because when it is here the 25th day here of October, they're calling Rosh Chodesh, which is on the evening of the 25th day of October. For them, it will change for the 8th month, the month of Heshvan. But for us, this will be the month of Tishrei, the month of the Feast of Trumpets, the true correct 7th month. And now let's go to Stellarium and check what will happen here on the last day of the Shemitah cycle, on the last day of Elul for us, not Tishrei. So on the 25th day of October, let me just put it here, the Stellarium. So here we are in Stellarium. You can see here, let me just show you guys, that the sun clearly is on the constellation of the Virgin. Here, the full moon will be exactly opposed to the constellation of the Virgin. So here, on Pisces. So tomorrow, the full moon will be on Pisces, and the sun will be on the Virgin. So this is not the middle of the 7th month, which is the 7th constellation Libra. It is the middle of the 6th month. I know some people say that the Revelation 12 sign happened and it was Feast of Trumpets. I also believed that. For many years I believed that the Revelation 12 sign happened on the Feast of Trumpets. However, now I'm more inclined to understand that the Revelation 12 sign happened on the 6th month, the month of Elul. So it was the month where Moses ascended to Mount Sinai, the 1st of Elul. So as you can see here, tomorrow, sun in the Virgin and moon in Pisces. Now 1 month later, the 8th of November, the sun will be precisely on Libra, on the scales, and the moon will be in Aries, or going through Aries here. So this is the correct moment for Tabernacles, the middle of the 7th month. Now, going back here, and let's go check the new moon. So on 25th day of October, the moon disappears, but take a look what happens here. Take a look what happens on the last day of the Shemitah cycle, on the last day of Elul, right before Rosh Hashanah, the Feast of Trumpets. Precisely, a partial solar eclipse happens right on the last day of this Shemitah cycle. On the last day of the year for the Jews, if they were to be correct, on the last day there are a partial solar eclipse visible from Jerusalem. So we can see that God is showing us that His markers in the sky points the feast for us. So this is the last day of Elul, the last day of the previous Shemitah cycle, Shemitah year, and then on the following day it is Feast of Trumpets. The moon is already entering here the constellation of the Judgment, the constellation of Libra, of the scales. So that's true Rosh Hashanah, that's true Feast of Trumpets for us, beginning right after a partial solar eclipse. And then if we go to the full moon, On the full moon, November 8th, that's true tabernacles for us. The sun entering here, the scales, Libra, the seventh constellation, and the moon will be here in the Lamb on Aries, the first constellation, perfectly opposed to the sun. And we can see here that there is a blood moon, the last blood moon of the Tetrad 2021-2022. So this is the last blood moon of the Tetrad that started on Passover 2021, Tabernacles 2021, Passover 2022 on the 16th of May, and now Tabernacles 2022. So God is showing us that He marks His dates in this, in the sky clock, in the skies. So we cannot deny that He is showing us when this begins, when all of this is happening. So this is a major thing for us, because it is the skies that is showing us that we are correct in His feasts, and this is very, very important for us. So the Lamb, on the constellation of the Lamb, the moon goes blood, while the sun is at the scales. Again, what is being judged here? The blood of the Lamb. If you are covered by the blood of the Lamb, then, as you can see here in the sun, you are in one side of the scales, you are righteous. If you are not covered by the blood of the Lamb, you are on the left side of the scales, you are not righteous. You are condemned because you haven't believed. So you can see that the sky is showing us all of this information, because the sun, the moon, and the stars, they are pointing not only the feasts of God, Moedins, the biblical feasts, but also the story of His sacrifice, the story of His perfect judgment. So if you go back to May 16, we can see that the same thing happened here, because on the scales the moon also became blood. The moon became blood red, so on Passover here, and the sun, we're going through the constellation of Aries, so approaching the constellation of Taurus, but going through the constellation of Aries. So the moon, the sun were here in the first constellation. So if we go back to the new moon, you can see here that the sun and the moon, they are pointing this constellation, the first constellation, the constellation of the Lamb. That's when it truly began, the first month. So basically, Stellarium, the sky is showing us that this is correct, and we can be very excited on the next few days, because the Shemitah cycle that we are right now, it hasn't ended yet, just like the Jews are saying. It is not the year 5783 yet. We are still on 5782. If that is to be correct, because the Jews are also wrong in their counting of years, we might be in 5992, approaching 5993, when the sun points the constellation of the scales, which is the 26th day of October. Here is when it will be Rosh Hashanah, the Feast of Trumpets. That's when we will turn from 5992 to 5993. 70 years remaining for the 6,000 year. So we have about less than 20 days from now to be very excited about the harvesting of the church, the harvesting of the wheat, the harvesting of those who have the oil in this feast of new oil, which we are about to enter tomorrow. So we can see here on Stellarium that we are correct in our thinking here, and that the Jews are indeed 1 month off. So they are missing all of the major feasts for them here, which are trumpets, atonements, and tabernacles. They are missing them. I feel sorry for the watchmen that are believing the Jews, because they are also missing some very important information that matches what the skies are showing us. And they are gonna be missing here also the next few days, which are very, very important for us, because we are about to witness the last moment for the Shemitah cycle 5782 or 5992. Now, looking at this calendar here that I made for you guys, I have some very interesting news that is happening here currently. But I have here the partial solar eclipse that will be happening here on the last day of Elul for us, right before the Feast of Trumpets. And then the Day of Atonement will be here for us from the 4th to the 5th here of November, the true Day of Atonement. And let me go back here to acho que 6 na reunião. Não, não tá não. Eu acho que 12 na reunião. Tá no mercadinho sim. Tá sim. Produtos diversos. Let me just show you guys here real quick. When they are calling here, so they're calling the 10th of Heshvan. We are calling that the 10th of Tishrei, which is Day of Atonement. A lot of people are looking at November 11, so 11/11, which is the 17th day for the Jews, the second month, the day of the flood for them, but for us will be Tabernacles. So the third day of Tabernacles, the 17th day of Tishrei, for them will be the 17th day of Heshvan. So take a look how amazing this is. For some people, it will be a blessing, the third day of Tabernacles, the moment where we are gathered in God's house. And for some people, it will be the beginning of the flood of tribulation that will start the chain of events for the tribulation to happen. So we are in a very high watch time for us, and I believe that anytime now we can be going home to the rapture, because there isn't much else to happen besides a nuclear war that is about to happen. Even Biden says that Armageddon could happen anytime. And the news here, which are happening, they are basically pointing to that as well. Just so you guys understand here what's happening, I'm gonna give a couple news here that are very interesting. So this is from October the 2nd. Russia may open fire if the US was involved in the Nord Stream attack. They already accused the US to be the ones who sabotaged their Nord Stream pipelines. So this is a news that is happening on October 2022. What else? NATO warns Putin may test a nuke on Ukraine's border. So this is very, very tense for all of us which are looking at what's happening throughout the world. We know that nukes will fly. That is the sudden destruction that will happen right after the church leaves. So I believe as soon as the church leaves, nukes will fly out, or perhaps right after the church leaves, there will be a huge EMP throughout the world, and they will believe it is a nuclear strike because they are expecting this to happen. But actually it is the rapture of the church who actually gave a huge EMP throughout the world, and all of the electronics stopped functioning. But they will believe that Russia or China or North Korea, they sent a nuke and exploded on a high altitude, giving them an EMP strike. So as soon as the church leaves, perhaps they will believe it is a nuke. And also, UFOs, they are being seen a lot lately. I have one here that is very interesting for you to watch, because once the church leaves, once the rapture happens, they will bring the deception, the alien agenda deception. So they will deceive the nations, saying that it was aliens that took the people out of here, and they are already preparing here the story. Just take the sound out. So take a look at this tiny white dot in the sky. You will see that quickly disappears, and it moves very, very fast. So this is not a human technology, perhaps angel or fallen agent technology, but you can see that it moves. So it moves very, very fast in the sky, and either this is being holographic lights, we don't know what this is, but they are preparing a huge narrative for after the rapture. Oh, also something very big happened today. Crimea was attacked. Russia was attacked in Crimea, and this is a place where they were really trying to protect. So what's the next in line? Ruskies, Ukraine taunts Russia over destroyed Crimea bridge. So that happened today. Ukraine attacked a bridge in Crimea. I believe it killed a couple people, 3 people I guess. And this is gonna literally bring more and more tension to this war already. The Zelensky, the guy from Ukraine, he appeared to want a third world war. He wants that, and he's already telling NATO to strike Russia before they have the chance to send nukes. So we can see that this situation here cannot go much farther without a huge escalation in the war. This information, this escalation here cannot go much further, and we do understand that we are very close to leaving here, because the world is about to pop up. The world is going crazy everywhere in the world, and this is gonna bring a whole lot of destruction that we believe will be in the tribulation. So the church have to leave here before all of this sudden destruction happens. So yeah, that's the information that I had for you guys. I don't think I have anything else to show. But yeah, this is information. Oh, I also remember here, I had a dream of the rapture on September 28th. I haven't asked for this dream, but I had this dream. And on this dream, an angel-like person told me that our refugee was not here in this earth. And then right after that, the rapture happened. And my wife here on the 29th day, right after my dream, on the following day, she also had a rapture dream on the 29th of September. So we believe that these are warnings from God that He is very close. So right in the end of September, that's when God warned us in our dreams, me on the 28th and her on the 29th. And now we are entering here October, and a lot of tension already escalated with Ukraine war and Russia. And we now know a lot of information that matches what we have been believing to be a summer harvest. So going back here to the calendar, to the graph, you can see here that we are still on a summer harvest season. So a season for harvesting wheat or barley or oil or all of them at the same time. The church applies to all of them. The church could be barley, the church could be wheat, the church could be oil. So all of them still applies for now, and we are right now at this moment of time, the last few days of summer, of true summer in Israel, the last few days for the Shemitah cycle, and the last few days for also the feasts, the last feast that happens throughout the year. All of them being marked with major signs in the skies like a solar eclipse and a blood moon tetrad that happened 2021 2022. So a lot of very high expectancy for us, and I hope all of you guys are ready to be raptured out of this earth. I hope all of you guys that are here, that watch this video throughoutly, I hope all of you guys get ready, get right with the Lord, be prepared, be with oil in your candles, because we are very, very soon to leave this earth. Very, very soon we will leave this earth, and once it happens, there we go. We won't be able to witness all of these horrors that we have been witnessing here in this earth. So be ready, be prepared, forgive one another, love one another. Also, don't forget to speak for those that are still have ears to hear, and have oil in your candles, because when the bridegroom comes, we will need to have oil, the Holy Spirit here burning inside of us, to be able to escape all the things that will be happening here in the tribulation. So Maranatha. Also, don't forget, please, if you can, subscribe to my Rumble channel here. It's rumble.com/Ricardo Garcia. I need 100 subscribers to start doing live streams here. In here, I will be able to speak without being censored by YouTube. If I had received only one more strike, all of this channel will disappear. So just one more strike, and my channel is gone, just like it happened to my previous channel, unfortunately. But I will eventually come back to YouTube on a channel called Ricardo Garcia 4. So this is Ricardo Garcia 3. The next one, if I lose this channel, it will be Ricardo Garcia 4. So if you don't see my channel anymore, and we are still here, the rapture hasn't happened yet, I will be either in Rumble or in a new YouTube channel called Ricardo Garcia 4. That's it, brothers and sisters. I hope you are blessed by this message. I hope that all of you are ready to meet our Lord, our bridegroom, in the air very, very soon. Maranatha. Message. I hope that all of you